I am Dr. Chief BODE Aro-Lambo, the Taishi of Lagos. The Baba Adinni of Loboro-Mowe, Ogun State. And patron to so many social organizations, including the Eyo of Lagos State. I've been the chairman of PCRC, Police Community Relations Committee at Lion Building, where I was the chairman for over 16 years. And even at that 16 years, I was asked to do another 1-2 years for reasons of replacing another chairman. At which stage I had the singular opportunity to have interacted with all the AIGs and IGs in the Nigerian police network, all the retired IG and AIGs, DIGs, even during the time of Baba Edet. I know Baba Edet very well. Then I remember when we have the AIG for Zone 2, Mr. Labode, who spoke about community policing. The first time I was hearing about community policing was from Edgar, who was the then Commissioner of Police, Lagos State, who came to Lion Building. And the DPO for Lion Building then was one SP, with whom Edgar instructed with the area commander then, Umar Suraj, that there should be enlargement and interaction between the community body and the police institution. That the police should be able to reach out to the community, and the community should be able to interact adequately with the police. At which stage, the then Commissioner for Police, Lagos State, retired Edgar, said, look, you people have to come up with something. Then I had already left the PCRC after my sojourn with the PCRC. He advised that myself and somebody, we should start Afolabi Ononaike then, the late Afolabi Ononaike. He worked seriously for the security formation of the police system too. He used to be my PR when I was the chairman of PCRC. And so a community policing committee was set up, and it was inaugurated at the City Hall, Lagos then. The activity started, and the community were responding in Lagos Island, especially the landlords, the artisans, and of course, indigenes of Lagos State. understanding what community policing is about and their outreach, and ensuring that informations are gathered, are given to them, and those information are given back to the police to work on, especially on intelligence narratives. The trajectory was that when an individual observes anything untoward or formative displacements of or misplacements of miscreants gathering together to foment trouble, or there's a kind of nuisance or nauseating things that is happening around them, they should intelligently gather enough information and give it to the police for the police to work on, arrest the situation before its incubation period. And it has been like that. The community policing become enlarged, and it's not as if we are not having problems with some of the other organizations that has been on stream, like the PCRC. The PCRC, we believe, is for elites. And these elites, they don't even have time to give enough information to the police. But with community policing, people take it up on themselves, because the situation that is coming up, especially at the period it is being set up, the exigency of the situation as at that time till to date causes the acceleration of the idea of community policing, that everybody, no matter whom you are and what you are, you must be a policeman to yourself, watching your own domain, observing your own environment, keeping watch on everybody. The situation of the country is that we are in police state now. Everybody must be a police officer. You must observe something, you see something, you say something, you blow your whistle, or you just give the narrative straight away to those that are concerned, so that something could be done before it gets out of hand. Information are key, and timing too are keys. The trends, after I had been exposed to certain intelligence education, that in every situation you look for the WWE involved. Where, when, what, why in reporting crisis or observed situation became imperative, that we must try and teach everybody around you. To become a police officer, you must be involved in certain teachings and understanding its application. You report situation as you see it and on time, so that something response can reach the target on time. And that will reduce, because what the international police community is talking about now is doing something before the event happens. That is challenging crisis as it is coming up, before it becomes something, before it becomes something you cannot control, right? You should have preferred solution to it, so that you are anticipating that there could be so crisis here, that this kind of thing could happen here. People can misbehave here, but you must be proactive. You must have an idea that so thing could happen, and make sure you nip it in the bud before it gets out of hand. That is the synergy involved in community policing, and that is the main essence of community policing. That community policing is of essence now. The reason is that the uniform police officers we have in this country is not enough. And we are underscored when it comes to getting them for operations. If there are similar operations in, say, at least half of the state in the country. So consequently, the people have to be adequately informed and schooled enough to understand that every individual must be his own police officer. You must be watchful, you must be observant, you must be disciplined, and of course, you must be very, very responsive and responsible to yourself. The police are enforcers of law and order. But the community too has a responsibility, because it's a dual relationship, has a responsibility to ensure that they manage themselves. And how could they effectively manage themselves? This is where Nigeria is failing. This is where policing is failing. The chiefs and the obas must be involved in policing their respective communities. And each community must be an adherent of the authority of the obas, of the king that is having his domain in any particular area. And until Nigeria gets to understand that we should involve the obas in community responsibility of securing ourselves, we may not be getting there at all. Because they understand the topography, they understand the geography, they understood the biological temperance of their people over and above any other person. Consequently, they knew each family and each community heads, and they can hold them responsible for any inadequacy that happens around them. If we can get obas and king into the stream of our constitution, especially when it comes to dissemination of authority and consideration for arresting miscreants and misbehaving individuals, then we will be able to stabilize the offensive situation that is going on in the country for now. As for the economic situation of the country, let me assure the entire nation and anybody that wants to care to understand or listen that the present leadership or president on seat now is not the person that is responsible for what is happening now. What is happening in the country today is one is an international conspiracy against African country, and especially Nigeria, that is hosting the greatest number of blacks in Africa. And aside, we are having what we call global recession. What is happening now is not limited to Nigeria alone. It is happening everywhere in the entire world. And this thing was caused by the ineptitude and misbehavior of the United States of America. They fought a war they are not supposed to have fought. They misplaced their priority. And maybe because of their dollar position in the world, you know, they control the IMF, they control the World Bank too. And of course, they have this UN, that. They try to make themselves the police of the entire world. They got their fingers burnt. The Iraq war was rubbish. They are not supposed to go into that war. And they expended a lot of money. And today, we are paying the price of that war. Because that war affected the entire Eastern Asian country and the entire economy flow. We have a lot of things that go through the corridor, like wheat, like oil, like other materials going and coming, passing through the Gulf areas. And of course, they now went and in trying to do something, they messed up the system by getting themselves involved in so many, let me put it this way, when we say macro interference, you know, getting involved in enlarged things that are overbearing for them. Today, we have the Israel and the Hamas. We have had the Gulf situation that affected the Iranian country, and some of these Arab, and of course terrorists and all of these ICI's program. But what is happening now is the result of the war that is being fought, which are not supposed to be fought. I want to use this medium to appreciate and recognize the position of the German people, the German people, the German, Indian, and some of those other blocs that refuse to get involved in all this nonsense. You see, the recession every country is experiencing now is because there's an enlightenment of misplaced priorities by the Western countries, which can be handled and be managed by us if we set proper priority for ourselves. The leadership we have in Africa, and especially Nigerian leadership, has not been able to sit down and appreciate the fact that We don't need to rely on dollar. We don't need to rely on dollar. Yes, we are not producing anything. We are handicapped generally. We are being constrained by empowerment in terms of enough education, technology, and entrepreneurship. No manufacturing company, nothing around us again. All of these are issues that started some times ago. If I have to go into analyzing how and why, I will need to go into religion, the incursion and the abuse involved in religion, which was thrown on us as a responsibility, both the Christian and Islamic religion, especially. The conspiracy involved in religion manipulation, which they use to embolden us into another slavery. All our manufacturing company, they have been changed to churches. No, tell me, is the prayer they are making there going to earn us increasing our monetary power? No. There were times in the past when we have Leyland, we have Dunlop, we have Michelin tire, we have, name it, all the manufacture. We have Volkswagen, we manufacture our own vehicle. We only take spare parts and raw materials from outside. We have Leyland, we have Peugeot, we have Volkswagen, we have Peugeot. We do everything we want to do here in this country. But today, we have textiles, very big ones. But today, all those textile industries are now religious compartments. They are now churches. Tell me how a country can grow under that kind of dispensation. How can we grow? Our per capita income is reducing on a daily basis. Our youth had gone to the university, they have not been able to do anything. And they are not doing anything because there was nowhere for them to work. There has been nowhere for them to start anything to do. Except unless we now empower them, appreciate them, and at least give them some the right direction and some control to be able to stand on their own and begin to do something with their hands. If you send any child to any institution and is coming out as a graduate, he is useless. Except unless he goes to buying and selling. Is that what we want for this country? No. So the situation we find ourselves today is a cumulative inability of the past leaders we have had in our own country here. You cannot now hold Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu for what he's not responsible for. Yes, it may be part of the game changer when the issues were going on those days. But today, like I have said, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not the repository and is not supposed to be the repository of baggages and people dragging him unnecessarily, shouting and cursing him. I think it's the height of irresponsibility for anybody to do that. First, as the president of this country, Nigerians should learn to respect their leaders. You should learn to respect your president, especially when Buhari was there. Did they have the guts and that kind of temerity to go out and start abusing him like that? Because they felt Tinubu may not be able to do anything. He can do a lot because he's the president. He can pick anybody up and lock that person forever. He has the authority and he has the wherewithal. Whatever is happening to our economy today, we should hold, especially Dangote, responsible. I'm saying it with all authority. Dangote is behind the recession we are going through. Especially the crisis, the economic crisis we are going through right now. And this is because when Buhari was there, General Buhari was there, and Emefiele, or what is his name, that idiot, the central bank nuisance, they connived together with Buhari to buy off Dangote's liability over and above a lot of billions with Nigeria money. That man cannot pay that money back. And of course, it will increase and reduce the capacity of our naira. They know. I'm saying it with all authority. Let anybody who is interested go back to central bank and check. This is the cause, this is the perennial cause of our problem right now. And when Tinubu got there, he was trying to see whether he can manage as an accountant. I'm an accountant too. He was trying to see if he can balance the books, retrieve things that could be retrieved, and manage what he could do about the economy. But as it is now, we are now having yes, the African country is having problem. The economy is depressing and is in general recession. It is not only the African country. It is affecting the entire world. What is happening today to Nigeria is happening in all the BRICS countries and in the Western countries too. People are queuing to get their food. People are complaining about gas and energy, petroleum energy. They are complaining about the cost of wheat and cement. But what I'm saying about Nigeria as in Africa here today, the cumulative economic recession we're having and the crisis that now become insolvable is being caused by what we call the fifth columnist. Those people who voted and failed. And Dangote especially, including Atiku and the others. But you see, you cannot hold Tinubu responsible. And of course, everybody should understand that even when Buhari was there, they did not give Tinubu any chance to give them order or to lead them as the leader of APC, of the party. He was thoroughly pushed aside, messed up. But as God will have it, he became the president. eventually. Not that Buhari made him the president. And if you go back to the video of when he was being inaugurated as president, Dangote was sitting by his leg. There's a reason for it. And the reason is part of what we are having now. You see, the pains Nigerians are going now, especially on cement and other commodities, we should hold Dangote responsible. I'm saying it with all authority. Dangote is the greatest enemy of Nigeria today. He did not appreciate the fact that there were leaders and there are leaders. And unless Tinubu reappraise himself as regards Dangote overbearing attitude and some of his other colleagues, Nigeria may be in a very serious problem. The system that created Dangote has given Dangote so much that he's even now going into gas and petroleum energy supplies. Let us look at it together. It got to a stage, Dangote said he can no longer complete his project, electricity supply. Abi, he said it. But Buhari and Emefiele, rather than go out into the open market, the Western country and other people that are on Dangote's level outside the world, outside Nigeria, outside Africa, they jettisoned him. They pushed him aside. They are not helping him at all. So he came back home and Buhari decided with Emefiele to do what those people refused to do for him. They gave him the money. They gave him all the support he needed. They bought him over. And of course, it will reduce the quality of our naira. It will increase the dollar that is supposed to be increasing and reducing in power by the fact that we are having a new electricity supply somewhere, and we are having a new petroleum supply from somewhere. At least one or two of our former refineries that is down is working now. Right? But rather than that to happen, we shall continue to have increase in cost of production, cost of everything, because this man needs to service what he has taken from the country. And of course, there's no way he can service the exposure. The exposure is too high and it's too much. But the mistake has been made. Now, how do we get out of it? Bola Ahmed need to, first, almost a quarter or half of the ministers or whatever he has, he should call them over. The Senate, House of Representatives, and whatever we have now should call their expenses. That is the first thing he should do. Then, those people that really have it in this country should come together, pool resources together, and try to increase the capacity of our naira. And how can they achieve that? There has to be a retreat, what we call structural management retreat, that should be immediate. at a point, I was holding the responsibility of our inadequate positioning in terms of this recession on IMF, because there's no country that goes into international monetary funding that survives it, especially when you will need to apply the structural adjustment program, projection or program, SAP. No country survives it. And Buhari knew that. Let me tell you something. Before Buhari left, it is not that because Ashwaju came up on that inauguration day and said, he's cutting off petroleum subsidy. Buhari cut petroleum subsidy. We all know that. The budget they made was to end as at the time Buhari is going. There was no provision for petroleum subsidy again. So what are we talking about? If Ashwaju mentioned it, he mentioned it in passing. He just mentioned it in passing. It's not the person that caused the problem. The problem has been there. But it is unfortunate that himself too, he appointed a minister that was very, very irresponsible for humanitarian causes. That girl will have been one of the champions of our economy. She will have turned around the situation of this recession. But of course, she got herself mixed up like the other lady in charge of petroleum that come from their side too. And they messed up the system. Well, let me ask Nigerians and tell Nigerians something. All of this money that is being recovered by EFCC, what has been happening to them? All the money that was stolen are good enough to get us out of this problem as we are talking now. Let Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu do something about it. I will tell you an economic solution to it. Yes, people may say it's a stupid idea. How many of us are in this country? Let us assume we are 220 million. If one person alone is stealing up to 1 trillion or whatever billion, only one person, then what stop Ashwaju Bola Ahmed? After recovering this money, give each person, each family, each person 220 million, right? Give each person 100 million in this country to cushion whatever it is. If you cannot give them 100 million, give them 10 million. But with 100 million, we will still be floating and we will be okay. Let Nigerians go back to the soil. If you give me 100 million today, I will go back to the soil. But let us deal with terrorists and kidnappers first. We need to deal with them. And some of these problems are carryover problems. So why are we holding Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu? It's just because he's there now. If Obi has been there, if Atiku has been there, it will have been the same thing. Let us face it. It will have been the same thing. And they will not have even have the solution Bola Ahmed Tinubu is serving now. They will not have that because they are not as learned and as exposed and experienced like Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Facts delivered. So I am saying today that I will appeal to Nigerians One, to be steadfast. Two, to start re-strategizing themselves, because you have to start thinking of what next you are going to have to do in order to survive. And what are these areas you can start thinking about? First, reduce your expenses. Reduce your cost management affairs. Reduce your expenses. And of course, let us be hopeful that the federal government will one day think about giving people land, equipment, and backing them up with empowerment, cash empowerment, to be able to procure seedlings and things they will use on their farm. It is not an impossible task that could not be done. It can be reached. And once we go into that, I think I read somewhere last week or somehow that one of the governors in the eastern state, the money that was given as palliative, he used it to go and buy about 200 or 300 and something tractors. And he gave it free to all the farmers in the state. Yes, these are the things I'm talking about. You cannot ask people to go to farm or go farming in this period now without giving them equipment and without supporting them with reasonable cash. I remember when I was managing the agricultural scheme for the CBN through my bank, those days, guarantee scheme. If you ask a farmer to go and plow some land and cultivate certain seedlings, at the end of the day, that farmer must weed the crop 3 times before harvesting. The least is 2 times. You must weed 2 times. And it costs a lot to do that. Then you must think of when the harvesting will come. Cost of harvesting. Then cost of transportation from that spot. We don't have the road, mind you. The roads are not there. So, I don't know what they call them, this rural something. Because of the problem our politicians created for local governments. We created this artificial problem created by us, by irresponsible politicians. They had forgotten that tomorrow their own children too will suffer. Send your child to anywhere abroad. He will come back and meet us here in this country. And whether he likes it or not, that child may not survive it. Because those that will kill him are waiting for him. It's like what the North did to themselves. They refuse to manage their children. They refuse to manage their offsprings. Today, those offsprings becomes problem for them and their children. What we're having in the South here is just carry over incursions of terrorism. They dare not, because the South has prepared itself. That is the way I can put it. The South has prepared itself, and we have to wake up now. Push them back to where they are coming from. I hope you understand it's a template. If Boko Haram decide to finish them in the north, let them go ahead. That is their business. That is what they had done with religion. It's part of their failure. Religious failure. And these are why I said that the problem Nigeria is having today is an international conspiracy. Everybody knew that if Nigeria become empowered and become powerful, Nigeria will will be one of the first country in the world, just like Korea and Japan has become now. You cannot push them aside. Yes, they are now in the BRIC formation. Tell me, what are we waiting for? Why not Nigeria too? Go and join these BRIC people. Let us forget about our reliance on dollars. Yes, Nigeria will survive. The BRIC people are making it. Russia, Australia, South Africa, and a lot of other countries that form the BRIC community. They are not weighing their money against dollar any longer. Why should my own currency, my own country currency, be 1,850 against $1? Why? I know I'm not producing anything, I'm not this, I'm not that. The BRIC formatives, it is just only $26 to one of their currency. Yes, quote me. I'm an economist too. And I'm saying it rightly. Nigeria, we are wasting time in managing policies. There are something we call strategic management of policies and policies. We waste time in taking decisions. And these are part of the frailties of our leaders. We need leaders that have spam initiative. And I trust Ajwabi Bola Ahmed. He has it. He knew what to do. We should not waste time considering our portfolio with the West or the Americans. Our portfolio should be our major interest for survival. America will not do anything if it will antagonize their survival. Let us get it straight. Britain will not do anything if it will antagonize their survival. So why should we remain stupid, for goodness sake? Why? Why? If these people have taken my forefathers away and made them slaves, and they are not paying me back reparation, then our boys today are doing Yahoo, or what do you call it? And you are beginning to lock them up. I think we are stupid. Let's get it straight. Because they have to pay us compensation. They mismanaged my forefather. Nigeria will not be what it is now. We will not meet it this way if they had left our forefathers for us and let us continue to go with our Ifa. So when we are talking reality, this is reality. Let Nigeria sit back and reform our constitution. Let us go back to parliamentarianism. We cannot sustain what we are doing now, the system we are following now. We cannot survive it. Because if a parliamentarian will be getting so much over and above the president, if the Senate will be going home and cashing so much money and still yet they are not doing anything, in fact, all of them should be arrested by EFCC. All this money, we should get them back. People are crying, there's no food. There's no job. But we are human beings. There's blood running in us, and we have a lot of energy. The sun is there for us supporting. The rain is falling every day. So tell us, the soil is waiting for everybody to cultivate it. And we have the land. We have the spaces. If everybody goes into farming today in this country, we will still have surplus land. Because we have the land. So far, I will not rest my case until I advise the country that we must do something about Dangote. Now, we now know why it's been unnecessarily financed. Yes. That finance, that support that they gave him, I think some people should go to prison for it. That money that was given to Dangote, people should go. They should pay for it. And of course, we should get our money back.
House, life,